What we're looking at in this video is something called Boolean operators, and although that sounds difficult, the words you probably already know. And so an operator is, if I say it's a numerical operator, it's things like plus, minus, times and divide. Booleans are true and false. So whereas my numerical operators, I end up with a number. If I say 5 plus 6, I'll get 11 as a number. With a Boolean operator, I always end up with a true or a false. I might use numbers, I might use Booleans to begin with, but I always end up with a true or a false. And so the Boolean operators which we've got to work with, we have greater than, less than, we have equals or equal to, and in C-style languages like JavaScript, we use two equals in a row. I've also got not equal to, and the exclamation mark means not equal, so not equal there. And exclamation mark on its own means not something. I also have and for that we use two ampersands in a row, so I can say is A true and B true. Or I've got or, and for or I use two bars in a row, and that key bar is down on the bottom left of your keyboard. You've got shift, and then right next to that key you've got the bar symbol. Often on your keyboard it's sort of separated out like that. And so that's so that I can say is A true or is B true. And as long as one of them's true, that will evaluate to a true statement. So an example of some of these I can say is 5 greater than 6. Well, it's not greater than 6, so that would evaluate to be false. I could say is 5 less than 6. Well, that's going to evaluate to true. Is 5 equal to 6? Well, that's going to be false. It's not the same. And I can do this with text as well. So I could say, for example, let's go down here, is Zach equal to Smith? Well, that's going to evaluate to false because these two strings are not the same. I could say is 5 not equal to 6? Well, that's going to be true. 5 is not equal to 6. Then for nots, I'm going to use that with a Boolean. So if I say not false, then it will switch that around to be the opposite. So not false is true. So if it's sunny, is it not raining? Well, that's true. It's not raining, it's sunny. And for and, I can say is 5 less than 6 and is 3 less than 4. Well, 5 is less than 6, that's true. And 3 is less than 4, that's true. So this will evaluate to be true. And I'll just use a different colour so that it's easy to see. I've also got this or one here, and so for or I can say is 5 greater than 6 or 3 less than 4. Well, the first one, 5 is greater than 6, that evaluates to a false. Or, and 3 is less than 4, that evaluates to a true. And with or I only need one of them to be true, so that would evaluate to be true. Now let's just look at some further examples here. So this time I'm going to use some variables just so that it looks a bit more like some computer code and how we normally use them. So game over is false, score is 62, name is Anna. So is my name equal to Anna? Well, I've got name is Anna here, Anna, Anna, same spelling, so that will evaluate to be true. Is my score greater than 50? Well, is 62 greater than 50? It is, so that's true. What about is my score greater than 50? Well, it is, that's true. And I'm looking for my name being Anna. Again, that's true. True and true will evaluate to true. Then is my name Smith? Well, my name says Anna. It's not equal to Smith, so that's false. Is the score equal to 62? Yes, it is. That's true. Or is the name equal to Smith? The name is not equal to Smith, so that's false. But remember, I only need one of these two to be true with an or, and so I still get a true out from that. Is game over true? Game over is false. No, it's not true. So that's false. Is game over false? Well, it is false, so that's true. What about here? Is game over? Well, game over, what does that mean? Is game over? Well, I don't need to evaluate it. Game over is already a Boolean, so I've instantly got my answer. It's false. And is not game over, well, that's the opposite of false, which is true. And this is interesting here, and if it doesn't fully make sense to you, it just will as you become more experienced. Almost everyone, when they begin programming, will write statements like this. They'll say, if game over is true, then put the final score on the screen. Or they'll say, if game over is false, then play the game again. But as we can see here, it's exactly the same as saying, if game over, or if not game over. And this is how we talk in English, so this is much easier for programmers to read, other programmers, and also it means there's less work for the computer to do. It doesn't have to do this comparison to begin with. It can just say if game over, if not game over, and it evaluates to exactly the same thing here. So when you're writing your if statements, try and avoid writing these because they're asking the computer to do more work, they're more typing for you, and other programmers will probably think you're beginning. If you don't get what I was just talking about though, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter too much if you get it wrong. And so here I am writing in between my two script tags, and so I'm setting up variables for game over first of all, which is going to be the value of false. I'm going to set up a variable for my score, which is 62. And I'm going to set up a variable for my name, which will be a string, and that will be Anna. So I've got a variable which is a Boolean, a variable which is an integer, a number, and a variable which is a string. And then I'm going to use them within an if statement. So I'm going to say if something is true, so first one I'm going to say if the name is equal to Anna, and if it is, then I'm going to say that we're in the true section of code, and if it isn't, then otherwise I'm going to say that I'm in the false section of code. So I should be able to see what it evaluates to. So is name the same as or equivalent to Anna, and the answer is true. And I can try with different ones. So in here I can say is the score greater than 50, and the score is greater than 50, 62 is greater than 50. Is the score greater than 50 and is the name equal to Anna? And there we go, it's true. So this part's true and this part is true. Is the name equal to Smith? And that's false, it's not. The name's Anna, it's not equal to Smith. Is the score equal to 62, or is the name equal to Smith? That's true, so the score is 62. I don't even need to look at the second one because I only need one of them to be true. Is game over equal to true? And that's false because game over is false. Is game over equal to false? And that's true, game over is false. But even better, I can do it the simple way. I can say is game over, and it's not the game over, it's false. Is not game over, and that's true. And it's much, much easier to read that and see it than doing equals equals true or equals equals false. And so there we've covered Boolean operators and how they work with variables.